So this is the intake valve. My retainer is touching my seal, a stock retainer, and then I bring the valve all the way up to close. That's closed. That is it's like 520 to close, 525, but if you give yourself a little bit, it's like 510 to close. Comp cams max lift is 510. Here's comp cam. These are 795 retainers with 616 locks. They're a plus 50,000 lock, setting on the stock seal. 520 lift on the intake. Now, the exhausts are different. They're 570 lift before you hit the 560 to 570 lift on the exhaust. It's 520 on the intake. Comp cams, 8.1 cams are all 510 lift. The 203, the BP 203 and the 202, they have more lift. And then had a couple people complain they're hitting the valve seals. Here's the intake valve with no seal on it, with the comp cams, 795 and 616 plus 50 locks. It rolls in at 0.72 lift. So if you ran a rather thin hood, you could pull probably 0.6 lift on the intake. Here's the exhaust valve with the comp cam 795 retainers and 616 locks. They're plus 50,000 locks on the exhaust. .9, right around 0.9 lift on the exhaust. So the exhaust ports are quite a bit more movement on the exhaust. So this is the stock rotator in an 8.1 underneath the springs. They have a thickness of 0.455. And I've never had an issue with one. Now, comp cam springs 26120. These are the beehives that go with the locks. They fit on there perfectly. So, an 8.1 has an installed height stock of 1.8 inch springs. The install height on these are 1.88. So, with plus 50,000 locks of 1.8, stock install height gives me a 1.85, which will do. So, I know a lot of people throw these things away. They locate on these springs perfectly. They give you the right install height for these beehive springs. So for locating, these things are a 0.95 locator. I'm not sure what the ID. There's the ID of one of these springs. 0.15. I mean 1.05. So there's like a 10,000th clearance, which is great. So with this Beehive spring lock and a plus 50 thousandths, well, Beehive spring retainer with a plus 50 thousandths locks. Issue is your valve stem barely protrudes over your locks. Some people really don't like that. I haven't seen someone lose a valve spring from that yet, and I actually knew about that problem before I even ordered this because I've done this before. But if you order plus 50,000 locks for lash caps, they actually recess them down, so you can just do that, and then you can get your spring in there. But you're limited to 510 lift with these seals. But if you go to a hood, you could, I would push it to maybe 6.6 lift. So not much capability with the intake valve on an 8-1. Here is head on a motor, TDC, intake valve, so I just want to check clearance at, it's touching the piston right now, so if I pick it up, we get 169. So 0.169. inches on the intake. That's your stock piston intake valve clearance at TDC. So this is the exhaust port. Valve is touching the head. We get 5.53 thousandths clearance to the exhaust. So that's TDC exhaust valve on an 8.1 head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.52 thousandths.